Thanks for joining me. This is Danny, and welcome back to Real Tech, episode 11, in which we are going to create a quarry with Create. Let's get started. And welcome to my mine. This is where some magic is going to happen today. We're going to build a contraption that is basically going to dig down to bedrock, come back up, move down a little bit further, dig down to bedrock, come back up, move down a little further. So it's going to basically end up hollowing this entire area. Actually, it's going to be doing a 3x3, so it's going to leave one little strip on the side here for us to walk on and look down if we so desire. In order to build this quarry, we are going to be using these items and blocks from Create. 9 mechanical drills. That's actually what's going to be doing the drilling for us. That's actually going to be breaking the blocks. We're going to use 6 linear chassis, a rope pulley, 2 clutches, a couple of gear shifts, 8 redstone links for wireless redstone, a gantry carriage, a whole bunch of gantry shafts. We can use as many as we want depending on how far down we want that thing to go, and a couple portable storage interfaces, a whole bunch of chests, an observer. We're also going to be setting up a bunch of redstone, and I am actually going to be using tiny redstone for this. Now you can do this without tiny redstone. You could use vanilla redstone for this, so I'm not going to go over all of these parts at the moment, but I will show you as we put the circuit together how the circuit works. I also have a bunch of stuff for inventory transfer. We're using pretty pipes to move stuff into these storage drawers and this chest. And then we also are going to be setting up a windmill in order to power our quarry. So we basically have a windmill bearing, 32 wind sails. Well, we're probably going to end up using like 1 or 2 gearboxes. Some of those we might use up here. And then here's just a bunch of miscellaneous parts that we may also be using in our build. All in all, this thing, it's a bunch of iron, it's a bunch of andesite, and a little bit of brass, which is copper and zinc. But it is actually relatively inexpensive to set up. But it is a bit complicated. So let's get started with the windmill. So if you've never built a windmill in Create before, actually relatively easy to do. Actually, let's put a casing there just so it looks nice. All we need is some space, which I think that gives us enough space. All we need is a windmill bearing and some wind sails. So I'm going to put a block on the end of it, and then I'm going to set the wind sails so that they're facing like this. And I'm putting 8 I'm putting 8 sails on each side of the block. So I've got a total of 32 wind sails on here, which should get us about 2048 of stress units. We just need to right click this with an empty hand. There we go. Oh, it's going through my... Okay, cool. Advancement made. A mild breeze. Nice. Whoa, it's carrying me away. I grabbed my engineer's goggles, so now I can look at this and see that we are producing 2048 stress units at the current speed, which is amazing. That will be more than we need. Actually, it's about twice what we're going to need initially. So we'll have lots of room to expand, but I want this to be maximum speed, basically. So I'm going to use a bunch of cogwheels. I'm going to do it the old-fashioned way to speed things up. So if you don't know, when you hook up a small cogwheel on the side of a large cogwheel like this, it spins faster because it has fewer teeth, so it'll end up doing more rotations. And then if you put a big one on that, that is actually going to be spinning the same speed as the smaller one because it's on the same shaft, basically, but there are more teeth going by because it's bigger. So then we can hook that one up to a small one, and then that small one's going to go even faster still. We've got our max speed, so I am now going to take a vertical gearbox. I actually want this to land right here. That's where we're going to be setting things up. So I've got a vertical gearbox so that I can move it in this direction. And then I've got a regular gearbox to go that way. And there we have it. And hopefully it looks nice from down here. It looks interesting anyway. And from up there. Okay, cool. Looks good. So let's get started with the actual contraption that is going to do our quarrying for us. I'm going to start with a clutch. That's just going to allow us to turn on and off the entire system. I'm just going to put a lever on that down on the bottom so we can flip that. It turns it off. And we're going to start with it turned off. And then I want to do a gear shift. That's going to allow us to reverse the direction of the system. And on this, I'm going to put a redstone link because this is something I want to be able to do remotely. It's something that we're going to be able to control on a little control panel that we're going to be making. Out there for me. So I'm putting a redstone link here. The way these redstone links work is that they transmit and receive redstone signals remotely. And you can put any item in there, any two items in there, which basically sets like a frequency. Transmitters and receivers that have the same items in them are going to pick up the same redstone signals. So what I'm going to do in here is I'm going to put, I don't know, maybe a gantry shaft, so that way we know that this is something that's going to be controlling the gantry shaft, and a lever. How about a lever? That's telling us that this is going to switch the gantry shaft back and forth. So then actually what we're going to do on the other end, where we're going to be setting up our control panel, which is going to be somewhere around here, we're going to set up another one of those redstone links. Actually, let's put it on the wall because that would be really cool. So we're going to take our wrench and we're going to right click on it, and then we're going to get that little thing. And that tells us that this is the receiver. And if we give this the same... Wait a minute. That's not the receiver. This is the receiver. So that one we're going to hit with a wrench. I'm sorry. I'm probably confusing you here. So this one we're going to hit with a wrench. And that makes it a receiver. I can't see the thing. There we go. So that is a receiver. And this one we want to be a transmitter. So when we send a redstone signal out here, we want it to go there. So we're going to do the same frequency. It's going to be the gantry shaft on the top and the lever on the bottom. Yeah, I like that. Okay. And then we're actually going to end up putting our redstone panel there, and that is going to be our control panel, but we'll get to that later. But I just want to have all this stuff set up. So we're actually going to have 4 of these guys over here. Maybe 5 actually. I just recently decided that I might want to have a 5th one to be able to turn on and off the rope pulley that we're going to be setting up in a second here. So now we have the ability to turn on and off the entire system, and we have the ability to reverse it back and forth remotely over there. So now I want to set up a gantry carriage. So the gantry shaft. So the gantry shaft is basically a tube sort of thing that the gantry carriage can travel on. So I'm actually going to face it out that way. But so the gantry carriage will run along this thing if we turn this on. Except right now it's going this way. I can't get down. So like if we were to give this thing a redstone signal, let's grab a tiny lever. Actually, let's just grab 3 of them right away. So let's say I put a tiny lever there. I'm going to put one on each one of these. This is actually, these are going to be switched automatically, but for now I'm putting a lever there. We will see that oh, there it is. Okay, I got confused. So that changed directions, and now the gantry carriage moved that way. We can't see that particularly well because we are over here when it happens. So now it comes back. You see that? Actually, we can see it better if we make this longer. I actually want this to go all the way down to the end. Ah! Okay, so I'm actually going to have this go quite a bit further, but just for now, it's going to go this far. if we flip that switch again, that thing's going to go all the way to the end. And it's going super fast because we have all our gears making our thing go really, really fast. Ta-da! And now we're going to have a bunch of stuff attached to that. So that's where things are going to get fun. I actually did it wrong. I have to put this down one. If you shift right click with the wrench from create, it just pops these things off and they pop right into your inventory. So I can't reach it if I'm shifting, so I'm holding shift and jump at the same time and W so that I'm moving forward. Okay, I brought that down one. I've got the gantry carriage up on the top, and now I'm going to set up another redstone link down here. This one is also going to be a receiver. Okay, and for the frequency, we'll use 2 gantry shafts, because what this is actually going to do is it's going to power the gantry shaft itself. So if we go over here, and we do this, when we turn that on, we see that the gantry shaft is kind of lit up, and we will also notice that if we look at the gantry carriage, it is spinning. Its thing is spinning. So instead of moving back and forth along the gantry shaft, when you give it power, it causes the carriage to stop where it is, and instead of moving, it's going to rotate, which is going to allow us to power the thing that we're going to have attached to it. There is actually one item that I forgot that we need, and that is super glue. Super glue is going to allow items to stick to the gantry carriage as it moves along. So this is something that you would use in any contraptions that are moving in order to keep all the pieces stuck together so that they all basically form a single entity. You can also use slime balls. Super glue is a little bit more efficient. It only costs 2 slime balls to make, and you could get a lot more than 2 out of it. So I am once again going to put a clutch here, and and then once again, I'm going to put a gear shift so that we can switch back and forth. And then finally, I am going to put a rope pulley. I thought I had it in my inventory, but I guess I didn't. A rope pulley. A rope pulley allows us to dangle a contraption or a block or whatever on the end of it, and it will lower it down. Now, you can also put super glue in your offhand, and then every block that you place, it'll just automatically super glue. Whoa. Oh, because it was spinning. Oh, it dropped down my my scaffolding. So that's how that works. So we can see, because we have our shaft powered, the gantry carriage was causing our pulley to spin through this clutch and this gear shift, and that dropped this thing down. Now, do be careful with having the super glue in your offhand, because then every time you place a block, it glues to it, and you end up wasting super glue. But in this case, we definitely want super glue there. And there. Now I'm going to take this out of my offhand while I still remember to do that. I'm going to leave that so it doesn't attach to another block. Actually, it won't attach to, will it? Does it glue itself? I think it glues itself. I can't remember. Okay, so this is going to be to turn on and off our rope pulley. So why don't we, I should have kept the rope pulley in my hand while I was doing this. Actually, no, that's what I was going to use the pickaxe for. So this, we'll use, 2 pickaxes, just turns on and off the entire drill. A pickaxe and a lever, we'll go with the lever again like we did over there. We'll reverse it. So 2 pickaxes to turn it on and off, a lever and a pickaxe to reverse it. So I'm going to put the lever and the pickaxe here, because that's what this thing's going to do. So if we flip that lever, oh, we didn't set those to receive. So we do have to right click that. There. Then it goes back up. So the gantry shaft has super glue on top of it, like permanently. So I actually had to cut out one line at the top there so that it is able to move back and forth freely. So now it's working fine. Let's see. Yeah, look at that. Cool. Let me make sure that after it stops, it starts again from there. Yes. Okay, cool. We're in good shape. So now we're going to start building the actual drill itself. So I am going to grab some linear chassis. The way the linear chassis work is they don't have to be super glued to each other. Any linear chassis that is facing in a similar direction, they're all just going to automatically stick together. So, and they're going to stick to the pulley. I think we need four of these. And if we reverse our pulley, oh right, we have to power our thingy. Yeah, okay, so then that goes down, and then if we reverse our pulley again, it's gonna pull it back up. Nice. So now we're gonna put the drills on the bottom of that. I'm probably going to have to dig myself a bit of a hole here. But here is where we are going to need super glue for every connection. So I'm going to put that in my offhand and make sure we click on the bottom of this block too, so that it super glues it to that and not to like this block or something, because that would be bad. And then I actually want to go this way with them. So let me, whoops. And then again, I'm going to click on the side of this block so that it glues itself to that. Okay, that's okay. We can rotate that. These things face toward you when you place them, so you have to actually be facing up if you want it to face down. But it can also be moved with a wrench, so it's no big deal. All we got to do is right click on it to make it go that way. And we're always going to have an aisle over here. The way I have this design, we're always going to have an aisle to walk on this side. There we go. So those should all be glued together. So if we do this, we can see that it's starting to dig down. I don't want it to dig down though, because then we're going to have a big hole there that we're going to fall in while we're trying to do stuff. Oh, sounds like we're going to be digging out a zombie hole pretty soon. I'm going to put an observer on there and a redstone link. Oh, see? That's why I got to take that out of there. Oh, man. And I don't think you get that back. I think you lose it, but okay. So I'm going to put an observer on here, maybe here. And again, we're going to need the super glue. It doesn't matter whether I glue it to that piece or that piece, whatever, as long as it's glued to something that's a part of this structure. And then I'm going to put a redstone link there. And then I'm just going to use observer. We'll just do it in observer frequency. You don't actually have to use both. This will match anything that has an observer and then an empty one. And then over here on this bottom one, that's going to be an observer. And this is going to be input. See now, shift, boy, that's inconsistent. There we go. Sometimes you have to right click with a wrench. Sometimes you have to shift right click with an empty hand. The purpose of this observer is that as this platform is moving, it's going to be an entity. So these are not going to be blocks. As soon as it stops, so like when it reaches bedrock, and when it hits the top of this, it's going to become blocks. And at that point, the observer is going to pulse. So with our little control panel over here, we're going to know that every time this observer gives us a pulse, that we've hit the next stage in our mining process. So then we can set up a circuit that is going to respond to that, which we will do momentarily. Now I'm going to put a whole bunch of chests on here so that I'm going to actually shift so that they don't become double chests, so that it has a place to put the blocks as it's breaking them. I've got a portable storage interface on the contraption that's pointing into this one out here, so that we can use this hopper to pull into our pretty pipes, which is going to end up running over here into our storage drawers, and then this chest. So anything that can't go in our storage drawers will end up going in that chest. And then in a future episode, we're actually going to work on automatically processing all this stuff, and we're going to set up Cobbleworks to make sure that we have a lot of sand on hand and whatever else we need from Cobbleworks. And I think this piece is good to go. I don't think we have anything else to do here. Now we just need to work on the circuit. Just to test. So it's drilling down, and it's super fast. Look at that. Oh my gosh. And because that's an entity, those aren't blocks while they're moving. If it runs into any lava or anything, it's not going to hurt. I'm going to turn it around right now, though. So let's pretend it hit the bottom, a pulse came in, and our little circuit told this thing that it's time to flip. That comes back up. When it hits the top, we get another pulse here. And at that point, this guy is going to turn on and off for like 6 ticks, if I remember correctly. So like boom, boom. I made one little error here, and that is that I am powering this gear shift directly, which is actually causing the gantry shaft to get powered. So I moved this redstone link down underneath this gear shift so that it doesn't end up powering the gantry shaft. So now the thing went way down there. Actually, if I pull it back, we'll be able to see this thing working, the storage interface. So this is the direction of the gantry. So now it's coming back. And we will see that this connects. It'll only do that while this thing is an entity. Now we can set up all the redstone. So we have all of those redstone links in there already. And they're all coming over to this control panel. I'm going to take these levers off of here so that we have an empty circuit board. And then I've got a blueprint that I made elsewhere. Before I do this, let's just make sure we shut the whole system down so that we can get everything set up before anything crazy happens. So it looks like I have to rotate it. Let me explain this circuit to you. I'm going to put timestamps in the description. So if you don't want to get into all the details of how this circuit works, you can skip this. But you might want to know. You can do this in vanilla redstone, but it would take up a lot more space. Not only is this tiny redstone, but we've also got tiny gates. Some of these gates would be like 8 blocks worth of redstone or more even. This is the button to start. And that actually goes into this T flip-flop, which turns on the redstone to that gear shift, which causes the chassis to drop down. When that entity hits the bottom and it becomes blocks, we get the pulse, which increments this tiny counter. So the tiny counter basically increments its redstone signal output every time it gets an input. So it gets a pulse, it outputs 1, which means that the redstone signal only goes this far. It goes into this edge detector. The edge detector then goes and pulses this guy, which causes the rope pulley to pull that back up. And that's the only thing that happens during that step. Once the pulley comes all the way to the top, we get another pulse from this guy, which increments this to 2. Now, some stuff happened there. I'll explain. So now we're here. This is an edge detector, so it's not going to do anything because this redstone signal here just went from 1 to 2. So that's not going to do anything. Actually, let's close that one. So that stays the same. But it hits this edge detector, which goes into this T flip-flop, which goes into this tiny clock. So this tiny clock is frozen right now. But when we hit this T flip-flop, this redstone signal turns off, allowing the clock to go through one cycle. The cycle is exactly 5 ticks. So what happens then is, after 5 ticks, it flips this T flip-flop that is going into the gantry shaft. So the gantry shaft loses redstone power briefly, which allows the whole contraption to move that way, down this tunnel, for 5 ticks until the timer goes off again. When the timer goes off again, it comes back and it shuts itself back off. So then it freezes there, which then causes this thing to stop. So what's going to happen is it's going to move 3 blocks. It's going to stop. that thing, that observer, is going to pulse again. When the observer pulses again, this redstone signal then becomes 3. When we hit the redstone signal 3, it hits this edge detector, which then goes and turns this thing back on so that it drops it down. And then it also goes this way and goes back into the tiny counter and resets it to 0. So then that's just the loop. So the tiny counter just keeps going 0, 1, 2, 3, 0, 1, 2, 3, 0, 1, 2, 3. So 0, that's our state where the thing is dropping down. 1 is the state where it's coming back up. And 2 is the state where the carriage moves down 1. And then 3 is the state where it resets itself and then it drops the thing down again. Did that all make sense? I hope that all made sense. It's a pretty complicated circuit. It would be way more confusing if this were vanilla redstone because the edge detectors would take up a considerable amount of space, the T flip-flops. So let's test this. I hope it works right off the bat. I hope nothing is different in my setup here as far as like the directions. So let's see what happens. This is going to go down to bedrock. I'm not going to be able to see it. We should have put a light on there or something. Look at that. We can actually ride that thing. It'll carry us. And it'll even carry us horizontally too. Like as it goes down, as it goes up, as it goes horizontally, it will carry us. But it's a little dangerous because if it hits lava or, you know, creepers or something like that, then we could be in trouble. Okay, it's coming back up now. So I guess it already hit bedrock. Oh, you know what? It's actually going to end up Oh, okay. Oh, there we go. Look at that. Ha! So it went over 3 blocks, and now it's on its way down. So it is definitely working. Nice. Oh my god, this is amazing. I love this. Once this thing finishes out this entire hallway, there's a couple different things that we can do to expand. Like, of course, we could just pick up the whole thing and move it, but that would be a bit of work. There's one trick that we could do is we could put it on a cart assembler, and then we could just pick it up as an entity. Or I can just remove those drills and like install them off to the side, like over here, which is probably what I'll do. I'll probably just move them over here. Or we could put more drills on it and like have it drill out a bigger area. I'm pretty sure that we are producing enough power to at least double the number of drills that we've got on there. So this one's definitely taking a bit longer. If it hits obsidian is super slow. Okay, it's coming back up. Going to the next one and heading down. Awesome. Oh my god, that's so nice. I love this. It's so fun. At some point, I'm actually going to build an elevator so I can go down there too and see all the exposed stuff. So I actually disabled this redstone connection down here just so that I can pull it back. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to disable the pulley. And then I'm going to reverse this. And then I'm actually going to disable that so that it comes back. Yeah, so now it's going to connect. And we're going to get all of our pieces that we got. Although it's kind of slow. Because I have the tier 1 extraction module here. But whatever, I'm not in a hurry. If you give the portable storage interface a redstone signal, it won't engage. So now, if I press that button, it should go over 3 blocks. Yes. Okay. So I just need to do that 1, 2 more times. Okay. So now I can reset this. And then I turn that back on. This is on. This is 0. That is on. All right, we should be good to go. So I need to just reconnect this. And then turn that off. And we're going to start drilling. Yay! Nice. So I'm just going to let this thing go for a while and go about my business, doing some other things. So I do hope you enjoyed this. If you do have any questions, comments, ideas, or whatever, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. And if you did enjoy this, don't forget to click the like button and to join me next time. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye. Look at the view from my house now. It's so nice. You can see the little windmill over there?